Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. Today is July 13th. The MLB draft has happened and it's time for the All-Star break. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is time. We are officially at that point in the season. The first half is over. The second half is upon us. But first, we have to go through the All-Star Week that is happening this week. It's very exciting. We are in Philly. We've got all of that coming up later in this episode, talking about that, getting ready for it. But before that, we did have one last weekend in the first half, and that is where we're going to start. So let's get it on with our series recap. Leading us off, we've got the Mariners and the Rays. Richie Palacios, Cedric Mullins, Victor Mesa Jr., and Junior Caminero all go deep in a 7-2 Rays victory. Then Ryan Valade hits his 7th home run of the season, helping the Rays to a 6-1 win before the Mariners have Weston Wilson and Randy Arozarena both going deep in the 4th for an 8-2 Mariners win to avoid the sweep. Royals in Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Blaze Alexander, Samuel Basallo both hit go-ahead home runs in this game. The Oilers stay in front for the whole game in a 5-3 victory. Then Pete Alonso, Kobe Mayo, Taylor Ward, and Gunnar Henderson all going deep in the 6-1 Baltimore win. And in the last game, Leo Tavares goes yard, as does Samuel Basallo. But this series ends on a spicy note as benches clear after Lucas Erceg hits Blaze Alexander with the pitch, but nothing too crazy comes from it. It's an 8-2 Baltimore win as they sweep the Royals. Phillies and Tigers, Kevin McGonigal, Colt Keith, Spencer Torkelson all going deep in a 10-2 Tigers win. The Phillies come back, they score 3 in the 4th in Game 2. The Tigers have Eduardo Valencia hitting his 2nd home run of his career. It's a 4-2 Phillies win though, and they finish it off by scoring 4 runs in the 6th with help from a bases-clearing double from JT Realmuto plus an error from Kevin McGonigal. 5-0 Phillies, they take the series. Angels and Twins now. Vaughn Grissom hits his 5th home run of the season. The Angels hold on to the 1-run lead. It's a 4-3 victory. Royce Lewis with his 10th home run on the year gives the Twins a 5-3 victory. And in the last game, Trevor Leonard hits a home run late to give Twins an insurance run that they did not need in a 4-2 victory as the Twins take 2 of 3 from the Halos. A's and White Sox. The White Sox score 8 runs in the 7th, with Tristan Peters being the center of it, hitting a home run and a triple in that inning as he completes the 3rd cycle of the year. It's all White Sox 14-1. A Chase Mydroth double is the only run of a 1-0 White Sox win. And in the last game, it's Sam Antonacci, it's Braden Montgomery, the young kids, they go deep. 9-1 White Sox as they sweep the A's. Astros and Rangers now. Yordan Alvarez hits his 30th home run of the season, his 200th of his career, and of course it went 455 feet because that guy breaks. However, Jock Peterson, Wyatt Langford, and Jake Berger all went deep for Texas as the Rangers hold on to a 7-3 victory to take the opener. Alvarez goes deep again in Game 2. He is joined by Lamont Wade Jr. hitting a grand slam, and Christian Vasquez, who goes deep as well. 9-3 Astros, the final there. And in the last game, Cam Smith, he homers in the 8th. That gives the Astros the lead. Kyle Higashioka ties it with a home run of his own. In the 8th, we go to the 9th, and it's Brandon Nimmo, the hero, the walk-off single for the win. Texas wins it 6-5. They take 2 of 3. Guardians and Marlins now. The Guardians have Chase DeLauder hit a 2-run homer. His 10th of the season helps them to a 3-2 victory. Then in Game 2, it's two RBI doubles from Stephen Kwan and Patrick Bailey. That's what the Guardians need in a 4-1 victory. And in the last game, Brian Rocchio homers, Chase DeLauder homers. The Guardians sweep one of the hottest teams in baseball before the break, 5-2 Cleveland, the final. The Yankees and Nationals now. Ben Rice, Jason Dominguez, Jazz Chisholm Jr., and Austin Wells all go deep for the Yankees as they come back to win it 5-3. Then James Wood hits a leadoff homer in Game 2, but the Yankees come back hitting 3 homers in the 8th. Ryan McMahon, Trent Grisham, who goes back-to-back with Paul Goldschmidt, as the Yankees win it 4-2. And in the last game, it's another leadoff home run from James Wood, who homers in all 3 games of the series. But once again, the Yankees come back in the 8th. They score 3 runs and get the sweep of the Nationals, a 5-3 the final. Red Sox and Mets now. Anthony Sagler and Wilyer Abreu both go deep in a 6-2 Boston victory. Then in Game 2, Andrew Monasterio and Masataka Yoshida both hit 2-run home runs. Those are the only runs of the game in a 4-0 Red Sox win. And in the last game, Lindor homers to put the Mets up 2, but the Red Sox down 2 in the 9th. They come back to tie the game with the help of a Lindor error and a blown save from Devin Williams. We go to extras where Boston scores a run in the 10th. They hold the Mets for the comeback win and the sweep, embarrassing the Mets and picking up their 9th win in a row. Boston get hot, 3-2 Red Sox for the sweep. Braves and Cardinals. Jimmy Crooks, a go-ahead homer in the 8th, helps win it for the Cardinals, 2-1 the final. Then in Game 2, Lars Nootbaar, a 3-run shot in the 1st. That's already enough for the win as the Cardinals go on to win it 5-3. And in the last game, the Braves take the lead in the 9th on an error by Mason Wynn. They avoid the sweep, picking up the win 4-3. Brewers and Pirates have a rain delay for Friday's Game 1, setting up a doubleheader on Saturday where the story was Esmeralyn Valdez. He hits 2 homers in the first game, the second one being a game-changing grand slam. The Pirates went from down 3 to up 1, and that was the difference in the 7-6 Pirates win. He then hit his 3rd homer of the day across 2 games in the second game, as the Pirates take both of the games in the doubleheader, 3-2 the final in that one, and then they go on to score 10 runs in the 4th inning on the 3rd day. Henry Davis homers, Marcell Ozuna homers. It's a 14-5 Pirates win as they sweep the Brewers. Cubs and Reds now. Eliota Cruz and JJ Bidet both go deep in a 4-0 Reds win in the opener. Carson Kelly and Alex Bregman hit big home runs to counter the 3 Reds home runs that were hit in Game 2. The Cubs hold on to win it 5-3, and in the last game, Alex Bregman hits a 3-run home run to cap off a 4-run 7th that got the Cubs the lead as they finish off with an 8-4 victory and the series win over the Reds. Rockies and Giants, the only 4-game set of the weekend. Casey Schmidt, Bryce Eldridge, and Willy Adames all go deep as the Giants take the opener 8-2. The Rockies come back in Game 2, though. They score 3 runs in the 9th, take the lead, and sneak in a win for themselves, 4-3 Colorado. Game 3 on Saturday, Casey Schmidt, a big 3-run home run. His 19th of the season is the difference in a 4-2 Giants victory. And in the last game, Jake McCarthy hits another inside the park home run to lead off the game, but the Giants score 3 unanswered. They get the win and take 3 of 4 from the Rockies. They win it 3-1. D-backs and Dodgers now. Tim Tawa has a game. He goes 3 for 4 with a home run and picks up 4 RBIs to help the D-backs in a 9-3 victory. Then in Game 2, you have James McCann hitting his first home run of the season as well as his second for a 2-homer game. That second was on the back end of a back-to-back bombs. Nolan Arenado joined him in that. The D-backs win it 9-2. And after falling behind 3-0 in the 3rd game, Arizona scores 5 unanswered, including another home run from Tim Tawa as the Diamondbacks sweep the best team in baseball. They win it 5-3. And lastly, you've got the Blue Jays in San Diego to take on the Padres. The Blue Jays score 5 unanswered with the help from Kazuma Okamoto hitting a 3-run home run, his 22nd of the year, ties Shohei's record for the most home runs hit by a Japanese player in his rookie year. The Blue Jays go on to win it 5-3. A back-and-forth game including 2 big Jays home runs from Jonathan Clase gave them an early lead, and then a 3-run shot from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. ties it late, but the Padres retake the lead on a homer from former Blue Jay Ty France as the Padres win it 8-7. And in the rematch, Nathan Lucas and Ernie Clement home run for the Blue Jays. The Padres tie it and take the lead, though, in the 8th. They score 2 runs to get the win, 5-4 the final, as the Padres take 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays for your series recap. All right, now let's get to the game of the weekend. We're going to Pittsburgh for Game 1 of the doubleheader that happened on Saturday between the Brewers And the Pirates, bottom of the first, it's Esmeralyn Valdez, who had himself quite the day that day. He picks up an RBI single in the first inning, and that kind of sets the tone for what he went on to do on Saturday. It's a 1-0 Pirates lead. They then scored again as Nick Gonzalez reaches on an error from Joey Ortiz, the Brewers' third baseman. It's a 2-0 Pirates lead heading into the second, which is immediately erased by Jake Bauers, who hits a 2-run homer, his 18th of the season, and it's a brand new ball game, 2-2. Bottom third, Esmeralyn Valdez connects his 8th homer of the season. A solo shot gives the Pirates the lead back. But in the top of the fifth, the Brewers would strike. Cooper Pratt picks up an RBI double to tie it, and then Sal Frelick hits a go-ahead 2-run home run, his 4th of the season, as the Brewers score 3 in the fifth, and it's a 5-3 Milwaukee lead. Then top 7, William Contreras adds to that lead with an RBI single to give the Brewers a 3-run lead. It's 6-3. But in the bottom of the seventh, with the bases juiced, Esmeralyn Valdez comes up once again and hits a grand slam. His second homer of the day, his 9th on the year. And all of a sudden, from 6-3, the Pirates have a 7-6 lead that they will hold on to as they pick up the win. 7-6 the final. Of course, Valdez went on to hit his 3rd homer of the day in Game 2 of that series there. Pirates with that 7-6 win. That is your game of the weekend, and that brings us to the baseball news here from the weekend. And there is a substantial amount of things to talk about here, starting off with how about a little round of applause for it being sweep weekend here. That's right. Of the 15 series, 7 of them, yes, that's right. Just under half of them ended in sweeps. Baltimore sweeping the Kansas City Royals. You had the White Sox sweeping the Athletics. You had the Guardians sweeping the Marlins. The Yankees swept the Nationals. The Red Sox swept the Mets. You had the Pirates sweeping the Brewers. And the D-backs sweeping the Dodgers. That was the big one there. But shout out to all those teams here. 7 sweeps ends the first half of the season. Very cool stuff. Kind of exciting for those teams as well to kind of take in some momentum into the second half of the season here. Let's go on to talk about the Cardinals because they went on to extend J.J. Wetherholt, the young kid having a fantastic season, currently leading in the what will be NL Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, you have to assume that a lot of people will be having him first overall. The Cardinals are going to give him a healthy 8-year extension worth $112.5 million. He will be making just over $14 million each season in AAV and will end up being a free agent after the 2034 MLB season. What has Wetherholt done so far throughout the first half of 2026? Well, he's put the Cardinals on the map a little bit. Again, they were a team that I was very, down on going into 2026 here. I didn't think they were going to have much momentum at all, finished last in the division. Well, they currently sit 5 games above 500, just 1 game out of a wild card, and J.J. Wetherholt has been the center of that. In 90 games on the season, he's got 91 hits, 10 of which being doubles and 13 of which being home runs, picking up 36 RBIs as well as 44 walks. He's got a 259 batting average, a slug just under 4 at 399, and an OPS at 755, just under the 800 that usually separates the great from the good. He's picked up 3.8 WAR as well. He has not been the perfect player. Of course, he's going to make his mistakes, but again, he is a 23-year-old young kid rookie in his first big league career, his first big league season, excuse me. And what I'm looking at here on the Baseball Reference is just a pretty good, complete, all-around player. He's been playing second base, is doing a great job at manning that position down. And again, it's not like second base is this elite position where there's a lot of different players. He's been a very good ball player and probably one of the better second basemen in the league this year. So I think the extension is warranted. Of course, we don't know what the CBA discussions are going on and what's going to be like, and if there's going to be a salary floor or salary cap or any of these stuff here, or how long you can extend players. All that stuff is up in the air, so it's smart to do things now while you can. The Cardinals like their kid. They like their second baseman. They hand out the extension. I think it is well warranted. J.J. Wetherholt is going to be a hell of a player, and I think this season, it's only his first, so there's definitely, you're going to see the improvement from him from year to year. I think he's just going to take off. He's going to be one of the better Cardinals players in franchise history, maybe even just like recently. Like, you think of like Goldschmidt and Arenado. They've been kind of the leaders of these teams the last couple of years. Of course, now Goldie with the Yankees and Nolan Arenado with the Diamondbacks, and like they kind of scrapped down their team, but still they had these young players who have come up and have kind of put them still on the map a little bit. So shout out to the Cardinals. Shout out to JJ Wetherholt getting that 8-year extension for just under $113 million. Good for him. As we look now to the All-Star break that is ahead of us, so some news for that. First and foremost, going into at the end of our last episode, we knew 7 of the 8 players that would be competing in the Home Run Derby. That mystery has been put to rest because Mr. White Sox rookie Munetaka Murakami will be the last player to join the Home Run Derby. Of course, he's been activated, he's been healthy again, and not only has he been added to the Home Run Derby, and he's going to be part of All-Star Weekend, but he was also named an All-Star. He's replacing, I believe it was Nick Kurtz that he's replacing on the AL All-Stars team, and he's not the only one that is being made some moves here as well, because Nick Martinez, Cedane Rafaela, and another White Sox, Tristan Peters, are joining the AL All-Stars as well. They're replacing Aaron Judge, Byron Buxton, and Ranger Suarez, respectively. So you've got 4 new All-Stars for the AL. Those 4 obviously can't compete. And on the NL side of things, Shohei Ohtani, he was scratched from his start on Friday. He's been dealing with left knee irritation, has not been placed on the IL or anything, but it was said that he will not be participating in the All-Star game as he deals with that injury, and that's why he was scratched on Friday and needed a replacement, which so happened to be Ivan Herrera from the St. Louis Cardinals, who we just gave some flowers to already. He's been selected to the NL All-Stars to replace Ohtani, as well as Justin Robleski from the Dodgers. He's been selected to replace Chase Burns from the Cincinnati Reds. And that's not the only thing that's interesting about that, because Zach Wheeler apparently was offered and declined the All-Star team because he felt so disrespected after being left off the team originally. Of course, Zach Wheeler having a fantastic season and definitely worthy of the All-Star team right off the bat, but did not get into it. He had his comments to say about that and was later approached by MLB to replace a player off the team. It might have been Chase Burns. It might have been someone else already, but he declined it, saying that he should have been on it originally, and he's not going to be on it as a backup or as a IR replacement or anything like that. So it's interesting to see that from Zach Wheeler. Of course, more than deserving of an All-Star. He's been fantastically pitching well for these Phillies, and of course, it being in Philadelphia kind of just makes sense. But he declines it and will take the week off to rest and be with his family before the season kicks back on for Friday and for Thursday for one other team, or for 2 teams, I guess, for one series that will start on Thursday here. Some other fun stuff here about the All-Star here is that we have our starters for both the AL and the NL. Of course, John Schneider managing the AL, Dave Roberts managing the NL, and of course with Jacob Misiorowski having his starts not lined up, and of course he was scratched from his start yesterday against Paul Skeens, which would have been an awesome matchup to see. Dylan Cease has been named the AL All-Star starter. Of course, Cease is his first ever All-Star, if you can believe that, because Cease has been so good. He's got a no-hitter in his belt. He's been a great pitcher for both the White Sox and the Padres. The Phillies are going with, not the Phillies, the NL are going with Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies, so the home team, the home favorites in Philly will be getting their ace on the mound. So it'll be Dylan Cease versus Christopher Sanchez to start the All-Star game. And here's a very fun fact and a nice tidbit to enter the All-Star break here. The last time a Blue Jays pitcher started the All-Star game was 2009. The last time a Phillies pitcher started the All-Star game was 2011. Who was that pitcher, you might ask, for both those teams? Well, it was both Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay last started in 2009 for the Blue Jays and started last for the Phillies in 2011. So that is some pretty cool history right there for, of course, Roy Halladay. May he rest in peace. But as well as Dylan Cease and Sanchez, as these 2 guys are set to deal on Tuesday. So that is all of the All-Star news there and who replaces who and all that stuff here. Moving on, let's talk about Mr. Canadian Tristan Peters, who went on to hit the 3rd cycle of the year. Is this the year of the cycle? Who knows? This was on Friday where the White Sox absolutely demolished the A's. And of course, Tristan Peters, he is a former banana ball player, which is pretty cool there. He hits the cycle, goes double, single, and then home run and triple. He got both the home run and triple in that big 10-run inning, or the big 8-run inning, excuse me, that the White Sox had in the 7th. How many players can you go back and say, yeah, they hit a home run and a triple in the same inning to finish off a cycle? I don't think you'll find any other players, maybe one. He's the third player to hit for the cycle this season. He's the first White Sox player to do so since Jose Abreu in 2017. Man, what a player Jose Abreu is. I did miss him. He's a name that you kind of fell off a little bit in recent years here, but of course, MVP in 2020, just so you know. But yeah, congrats to Tristan Peters. And not only that, of course, but we did mention that he was named the All-Star team as well. So, I mean, that's a pretty good 24 hours for the kid. I mean, he's been killing the cover off the baseball right now. He's hot as ever, helping the White Sox stay with the Guardians, stay level with the Guardians for first in the AL Central. Hits the cycle and then finds out that he's going to his first ever All-Star game. I mean, that's a pretty cool feeling for Tristan Peters. Shout out him. He's becoming a guy on my list for sure. And he's going alongside his teammate Munetaka Murakami. So pretty cool stuff there. We had a little minor trade here between the Blue Jays and the Twins that I just wanted to give a little bit of mention to, because the last time these two teams made a trade for a relief pitcher, it ended up being Louis Varland. And of course, the Blue Jays have been loving how well that trade has gone from them. This time, the Twins are getting the Major League player here in Tommy Nance. The Blue Jays are trading Tommy Nance to the Twins in exchange for a catching prospect, Ryan Sprock. Tommy Nance, you got to look at his page a little bit because, he can be kind of a diamond in the rough at times. Of course, made his debut in 2021 at the age of 30 with the Cubs and wasn't great. Next year was with Miami and wasn't great. Bouncing around the farm system, ended up in the Blue Jays organization for a couple of games in 2024 and definitely struggled. But last year in 2025, of course, Blue Jays on a magical run to the World Series. Tommy Nance came up towards the back half of the season and really did a fantastic job at stabilizing the bullpen. He was fantastic last year for the Blue Jays. In 30 games, he pitched 31.2 innings and only gave up 7 earned runs. He had an ERA just under 2 at 1.99. He was fantastic for them last year and a big part on how they ended up finishing off and winning the division. So far in 2026 with the Blue Jays, in 32 games, he pitched 33 innings, gave up 14 earned runs, a 3.82 ERA in his time with the Blue Jays. But he's been dealt now to Minnesota. Got into his first game of the season for Minnesota here, went an inning, gave up 2 hits and an earned run, but went on to finish the win for Minnesota against the Angels over the weekend here. So he's off to a nice little start with the Twins, I guess, getting them a win, pitching an inning, gave up an earned run, but still nothing too bad. He also struck out 2 of the batters he faced. So Tommy Nance, a little sneaky diamond in the rough kind of pitcher, but I want to give him some flowers because he's going to be a guy that I miss watching because, of course, I've seen him pitch quite a lot in my time. So, shout out Tommy Nance. As we move on now, let's talk about Jake McCarthy from your Colorado Rockies. Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure, huh, Arizona? Jake McCarthy, of course, traded from the Diamondbacks to the Rockies in January before the season started. And it's been a trade that's worked out really well for the Rockies because Jake McCarthy has been so good this season. And he hit another inside the park home run this season against the Giants over the weekend. And I say another because if you remember a few weeks ago, Jake McCarthy has already hit an inside the park home run, which means this is his second inside the park home run in the same season. And the fun tidbit there is that it's the first time that has happened since 1929. That's right. It's almost been a full century since a player hit 2 inside the park home runs in the same season. You got to go back to see that from Ed Roush, Roush. What a name there. As the last time a player hit 2 inside the park home runs in the same season. And again, to be fair, season's not done. We're only in the first half. And right now, I feel like Jake McCarthy, with the way his speed is, he gets to play at Coors Field, at Oracle Park, Giants home, Rockies home. Those are 2 places where, inside the park home runs with that kind of speed, it definitely can happen. So shout out Jake McCarthy, and hey, who knows, maybe he'll end up with a third inside the park home run by the time this season is all said and done. Has that ever happened before? Who really knows? Last thing to talk about here in terms of the baseball news is all about the future. Because not only did we have the 2026 MLB draft, we also had the Futures game, part of All-Star Weekend, of course, or All-Star Week. That happens on this Sunday. The AL Futures versus the NL Futures went on, and it was the AL Futures that ended up with a 6-1 win. They played 7 innings. You had Franklin Arias pick up a RBI on a ground out. Jesus Made then picked up an RBI on a ground out for the NL. So you have that kind of 1-1 early on there. Then top fifth, Theo Gillian, part of the Rays organization. He picks up an RBI single to make it 2-1 before another player from the Rays organization, catcher Nathan Fluing, hit a 2-run home run to put the AL Futures up 4-1. Then the Blue Jays shortstop, their top draft pick, I think in last year or 2 years ago, Jojo Parker, picks up an RBI double, making it 5-1 before Ralphie Vasquez, a prospect in the Guardians farm system, picks up the RBI single. That's how they ended up with a 6-1 win. Of course, the MVP went to the Rays catcher Nathan Fluing, who of course hit that 2-run home run. But pitchers were pretty well did a pretty good job. The AL only had 3 strikeouts against the NL Futures, while the NL Futures struck out 9 guys. So that's a pretty nice list right there for some of those guys. Hernandez, one of the players for the NL, picked up 2 strikeouts in his inning of work, so that's pretty good stuff there. The Jojo Parker with the RBI double. So yeah, overall, really cool Futures game there, and that brings us to the draft, which went down. Of course, the White Sox, they had the first overall pick in the draft, and they picked shortstop Roch Cholowski, I believe is the name there. He went out to throw out the first pitch the next day. With the second overall pick, the Tampa Bay Rays selected Grady Emerson, who was a shortstop. The Twins selected third overall, picking catcher Van Lackey. Giants with the fourth overall picked Jackson Flora, the first pitcher, right-handed pitcher, off the draft board there. Pirates fifth overall picked Derek Curl for an outfielder. This was an outfielder-heavy top 10 here, because after him, the Royals selected Zion Rose, an outfielder. With the 7th pick, the Oilers selected Eric Booth Jr., a third straight outfielder. And then the A's, with the 8th overall pick, selected Drew Burress, another outfielder. And then the Braves, with the 9th overall pick, selected A.J. Garcia, outfielder number 5 in a row. 5 straight outfielders from picks 5 to 9. And the Rockies had the last pick in the top 10. They selected a third shortstop in the top 10, Tyler Bell. So in the top 10 picks right there, you had 3 shortstops, 5 outfielders, a catcher, and only 1 pitcher in that top 10. Of course, that was the Giants' Jackson Flora. All of the picks, if you're curious to see who your favorite team ended up drafting and how many picks they got because of other rounds and the competitive picks, etc., you can go through that. MLB has the whole list, the 2 days, over 200, 300 picks made across all 30 teams here. Some other fun picks to mention here that that I got to see in advance, or not in advance, but online. The 34th overall pick by the Chicago White Sox, they took Landon Thome, a shortstop who happens to be Hall of Famer Jim Thome's son. So that's a cool one right there. With the 90th pick in the draft, the Giants selected Peyton Bonds, an outfielder who is Barry Bonds' nephew. Of course, Barry Bonds should be a Hall of Famer. Then with the 248th pick in the draft, the Yankees selected Luke Pettit, a two-way player who is Andy Pettit's son. And then with the 611th overall pick in the draft, so definitely more than what I said, the 200, 300 players, 600-something players, the Brewers, I believe it was the Brewers, selected Karsten Sabathia, the first baseman who happens to be CeCe Sabathia's son. So that is some unique drafts right there, some sons and nephews from former major leaguers, not just formers, Hall of Famers. So that's pretty cool there. So that is the top 10. And again, they have the whole list on MLB's on MLB Network and the MLB page. There you can go through and see if you recognize any names or if you want to see the potential future of your favorite team. But that is the draft that went down. That is everything for the baseball news. That brings us now to our hot and colds from the week that rounds off the first half. No one was hotter than James Wood from your Washington Nationals, going 9 for 18, a double, 4 home runs. I believe 3 of them were leadoff bombs. He's done that a lot. That's why he only has 4 RBIs on the week. Also picked up 8 runs. He, of course, has been leading runs scored all basically season long. He also picked up 6 walks, good for a 1.847 OPS. Ben Rice getting ready for the home run derby. He was 10 for 22 this week with a triple and 4 home runs as well. 11 RBIs and 5 runs, a 1.629 OPS. Jonathan Aranda, 11 for 22 with 4 doubles, a home run, 6 RBIs, 3 runs, a 1.356 OPS. As we mentioned earlier, Esmeralyn Valdez from the Pirates, 7 for 23, a double, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 8 runs, and a 1.277 OPS. And Ryan O'Hearn, of course, he had that big game recently, 7 for 21, a double, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 5 runs, a 1.250 OPS. Those are the hot players. Flip the pillow to the cold side where we see Corbin Carroll definitely struggled this week. 1 for 21 with 8 strikeouts. Mason Wynn, 2 for 21 with 6 strikeouts. Then you got Gavin Sheets, who did not have a hit. He was 0 for 17 with 4 Ks. Alec Boehm, 2 for 22 with 6 Ks. And then Carter Jensen from the Royals, 2 for 22 with 12 strikeouts. So definitely not too good. These players can obviously take a week off now, relax, recuperate before getting back into the second half of the season where things hopefully will take off once again for some of these players because some of these players are very good players. Injury updates from the weekend here. Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks lands on the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. The Reds are losing Matt McClain on the 10-day IL with a strained calf. Mets lose Mark Vientos 10-day IL with a fractured right hand. Nick Kurtz ends up on the 10-day IL with a sprained thumb capsule, and he's not the only Athletic on this list because Zach Geloff also lands on the 10-day IL with a knee evisceration. Jesus, that word. Mike Yastrzemski on the Braves, 10-day IL with elbow inflammation. Chris Martin, 15-day IL from Texas, shoulder impingement. And then Nick Lodolo from your Reds, 15-day IL with a blister on his left index finger. Of course, he is a left-hander, so that obviously is why he ends up on the IL. So those are your injury updates, which now takes us to the outstanding performances from the weekend here, and it's not a big list. It's probably one of the shorter lists we've had all season long. You've got Sean Burke from the White Sox, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 9 Ks. Hunter Green, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 12 strikeouts. His second start of the season was great. You got Peter Lambert from the Astros, goes 6 innings, 3 hits, a run, a walk, 7 Ks. Zach Wheeler, after saying he declined the All-Star game, went out to shove 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. Zach Thornton, I think his 3rd ever Major League start for the Mets. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And lastly, Trevor McDonald from your Giants, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. Those are the outstanding performances from the weekend here. And now that brings us to our standings check as we finish off the first half. Where are these teams standing? In the AL East, the Rays have a 3-game lead over the Yankees. The Rays are 56-38, while the Yankees are 54-42. Boston is now in 3rd place. They're 46-48, and they are on a 9-game winning streak, and they have turned their season around. They've gone from last in the AL East to now 3rd and sit only a half a game back of the wild card. We said with Boston and the Tigers, All it takes is one strong week, one or two just really great baseball weeks in what has been a super weak AL, and you can still turn your season around. Boston is currently doing that. Baltimore 46 and 51, just a game and a half back of them. They're also on a 4-game winning streak, and the Blue Jays found themselves last in the AL East. Only a half a game, though, behind Baltimore for last. They have been attempting to turn their season around, but just can't find a way to stick the consistency of winning more than just 3 or 4 games in a row at a time. They're 45 and 51, only 2.5 back. Again, as I said, the AL is very weak, and the second half will mean it's wide open for someone to take over. In the AL Central, the White Sox are 50 and 45. The Guardians are 51 and 46. The Guardians still with 2 extra games played than the White Sox. They are still tied, though, for the top of the AL Central. The Twins just 3 games back of them at 48 and 49, 1 game under 500. Tigers 44 and 52, while the Royals are 38 and 59 and hold the worst record in baseball, tied with another team who we'll mention. They are on a 5-game losing streak, and they're going to need a miracle to start turning their season around if they can in the second half. The AL West, the Texas Rangers still hold it by just a game and a half. They're 2 games above 500. The AL West has been surprisingly weak. No team really wants to take it and run with it. The Rangers 49 and 47. The Mariners 48 and 49. They're that game and a half back. The Astros in the mix as well at 47 and 51. The A's were in the mix, but they have now lost 9 straight. They've been swept 3 straight series in a row. They've gone from in the mix to now 8 games back of the Rangers in the division, and they are slipping away pretty fast here. They're going to have to start turning things around really quickly. They're 41 and 55. The Angels are that other team that are tied with the Royals for last in baseball. They're 38 and 59, and they're 2 of the 3 teams that have yet to record 40 wins in the season. In the NL East, the Braves are 55 and 40. They are 2 games up on the Phillies, who are 54 and 43, and 4 games up on the Marlins, who are 52 and 45 after they just got swept this weekend. The Nationals also got swept. They're 48 and 49, 1 game under 500, 8 games back of the division, but they have an 8-game lead over the Mets for last in the NL East, who are 40 and 57. They get their 40th win. They got their 40th win last week because they just got swept by the Red Sox. They should have won yesterday, but they didn't, and I digress. The NL Central, the Brewers have a 5-game lead over the Cubs. Brewers are 59 and 37, 1 win away from being the second team to 60 wins. The Cubs 54 and 42, still work to be done there. Cardinals, again, 5 games up on 500, are 50 and 45. Pirates also with 50 wins, just 2 extra games played, both of them being losses, so they're 50 and 47, just 3 games above 500, 9.5 back of the Brewers. The Reds at 43 and 52 have their work cut out for them. And in the NL West, the Diamondbacks did a really good thing being able to sweep the Dodgers, but it's still a long road to go. The Dodgers 61 and 36, the only team above 60 wins so far. Diamondbacks 49 and 47. That's an 11.5 game difference between first and second in the NL West. The Padres, with their 2 wins, get back to 500. They're 48 and 48, just a game back of the Diamondbacks. Giants ways to go at 41 and 55, and the Rockies join the Royals and the Angels as the 3 teams yet to get to 40 wins. However, they are half a game better than the Angels and Royals because they're 39 and 59. One way or another, the Rockies will either get to 40 wins or 60 losses come the first game of the second half. When you take a look at the wild card stuff right now, Yankees a 6.5 game lead on the line. Guardians a 3-game lead on the line. Minnesota and the Mariners are currently tied for that 3rd wild card spot at 48 and 49. So yes, we have finished the first half of the season, and still a team in the AL would be below 500 and still make the playoffs. Again, Boston on that 9-game winning streak, only half a game back of the Mariners and Twins. Astros a game and a half back. The Oilers 2 games back. The Blue Jays 2.5 back. The Tigers 3.5 back. So all those teams are still in the fight there. The A's 6.5 back. They need to start cutting their work out for them. And then the Royals and Angels 10 games back have lots of work to do. On the NL side, the Cubs 2.5 games up on the line. The Phillies 2 games up on the line. Marlins currently in possession of that last wild card spot by a game, though. The Cardinals a game back from Miami. The Pirates 2 games back. The Diamondbacks 2.5 back. The Padres 3.5 back. The Nationals 4 games back. Those are the teams that are definitely still fighting around. And then you have this bigger gap before the Cincinnati Reds get into play. They're 8 games back. The Giants, 10.5 back. The Mets, 12. The Rockies, 13.5. It is important to note, as I mentioned, the Mariners/Twins at 48 and 49 would make the playoffs under 500, while you have the Cardinals, who are 5 games up on 500, the Pirates, who are 3 games up on 500, the Diamondbacks, who are 2 games up on 500, and the Padres, who currently sit at 500. You have 4 teams that would make it, or that would miss the playoffs in the NL side, but would be in the playoff contention on the AL side. I mean, that's just the difference between when the NL teams have been playing the AL teams. They have been beating them hard. It's been a very weird season. Will it hold up for across 162? That is the question. We'll have to find out. But that is the long standings check here. So now we can just go into very quickly the upcoming series. And as I said, it is the All-Star break, so there is no series that are upcoming. What you have today on Monday is the Home Run Derby. Bryce Harper versus Kyle Schwarber versus Junior Caminero versus Ben Rice versus Wilson Contreras versus Munetaka Murakami versus Jordan Walker versus Jack Caglianone. All 8 will hit. The top 4 will move on to the semis in the bracket form. The 1 will face the 4. The 2 will face the 3. And then the winners of those matchups will play off in the finals. And not time-based anymore. It is swing-based. Any tiebreakers in round 1 will be dealt by longest home run hit. Tiebreakers in the semis and finals will be dealt via a swing-off. If you homer on the last one, you can keep going until you don't homer. It's going to lead to a longer home run derby, a more enjoyable home run derby where you can actually admire the blasts that are being hit. It is sure to be a good time. And then on Tuesday, tomorrow, we have the All-Star game. The AL All-Stars will be taking on the NL All-Stars. Dylan Cease on the mound from your Blue Jays. Christopher Sanchez on the mound from your Philadelphia Phillies. That is how Tuesday will go, the one day there. Wednesday, the sad day of no baseball, no nothing. It's a day off completely before Thursday's game, which is going to be just a single one game to start off the second half. It's going to be all eyes on the Mets and the Phillies. They'll have the game on Thursday. Before we'll have our episode on Friday, we'll be talking about all things All-Star and tee off the second half of the season where, of course, all 15 teams will play. Actually, I don't think all 15 teams play on Friday, but that will officially be the start of the second half. Baseball will be back to normal as per usual. And that is how we wrap up today's episode. So get ready for the All-Stars, guys. The Home Run Derby today is sure to be good. The All-Star game tomorrow might just be even better. Super exciting, very exciting for it. The first half is wrapped up. We're done and dusted. We're midway in July here. It's the trade deadline. You know, that's basically what's next. Once we come back after this week, it's, hey, who's in it, who's not. If you're a team that's on the fritz, you've got maybe a week and a half to make a statement. It's going to be a big part of the season coming up with the deadline looming large. Enjoy the All-Star break, everybody. Take it easy, and then we'll get back to baseball come Friday. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you on Friday.